Every Monday, 7 p.m., and that's Bali time or Singapore time, wherever you are. It's an inspirational Q&A platform that we have where we uncover some really interesting stories of some great people doing some amazing things. This is the Indonesian series, right? So it's called Destination Indonesia series, and so we're uncovering some beautiful things which are going on here in Indonesia. And tonight we have two incredible, beautiful women from Bali Staff Solutions. So hello to you.
Hello.
Sünje.
Yes.
And Radnya. I got it right.
Yes,
I got it right. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Very good. So look, so as you know, it's a Q&A, so we might as well start off. So maybe if you let us know a bit of background. So we'll start with you first, Sünje. So where are you from, and how did you find your way into this crazy occupation called, human resources or recruitment?
So I'm originally from Germany. After graduating university, I started traveling and I found a job. And I was managing a hostel for 1.5 years. And when Corona came, all of the staff, including me, lost their job. And but during my work experience, I met this beautiful woman, Radnya.
Yes, hi, I'm here.
And we got really bored with no occupation, right? And,
exactly.
Yeah, we had the idea of how can we help Indonesian people to find a job? And that's how our idea developed. And then I asked her and said hey, I need a Balinese business partner. Are you interested in doing it? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we started creating our company.
Got it. And then we're going to go a bit deeper into that in a second. But this is the first week we've had actually two people being interviewed at the same time, which is so thrilling and fun and new and different. So let's see how it goes. So with you, Radnya, I won't say it every time, by the way. So now, what was your route to this? So you were obviously, not obviously, but you were born here in Bali. So let us know a little bit about where you were born and maybe what life was like for you, whatever comes up as you were growing up.
So actually, I grew up in Kuta for 15 years. So I used to get in touch a lot with foreigners back then. And sometimes they gave me the chocolate. Most of them were Australian, actually. They were really nice. And it has been changing a lot in Bali. Now many tourists comes more than before, and a lot of constructions as well. But as Balinese, you just need to accept it because, you cannot do anything. And as a Balinese woman, that I want to, if the Balinese people, especially the women, I want to empower them, mentally, especially, and I want them to learn and develop themselves and to face the, modern era now, so they can compete more, not stuck with the culture. Just be open-minded, with all the foreigners here, and we can also learn from their experience and make us grow to be a better figure.
Got it. And picking up upon that, we spoke a little bit a few days ago, and I love that thing about you, right? That you're very focused on women, Indonesian women, being empowered and being able to really stand their own ground, right? Now, but there are people probably watching here who don't necessarily know, so when I speak about a Balinese woman, what does that mean? So perhaps if you could take a bit of time to explain to people, as if they've never been here before, what the general culture is, and why what you are doing is a little bit groundbreaking in many ways, right? So the traditional approach that Balinese women have, and what you're doing differently.
So actually, the Balinese woman used to be a very strong person, especially before they used to, have you maybe guys, you've been seen like Balinese women carrying heavy stuff on their head, especially the offerings when they go to the temple. So back then, a long time ago, they were very strong physically. They were carrying the heavy stuff on their head. At the same time, they were carrying the babies here. And now in this modern era, I want the Balinese woman as the sophisticated generation to, develop their, like a brain and in terms of knowledge and careers, don't stuck with the culture and just develop yourself and be open in any opportunity that comes to you. Because every opportunity that comes to you, you just need to try, nothing to lose. Like don't lose any chance that comes to your lives.
That's beautiful, darling. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm coming back to you in a second, son.
Yeah.
So just going a little bit deeper with you, because I love the story and I'm super interested. We're here in Bali, so it's really great for us expats and foreigners to hear, your side of the story and to hear how this happened. So tell us a little bit about, how you grew up and your mum and dad. Like who do you think was the one who may have been pushing you to become this independent woman who sees things a little bit differently?
Actually, nobody. Well, to be honest, like my parents never forced me to do anything. They just let me to do anything that I like. Well, back then, before I got in touch with foreigners, like before I had some foreign friends, I was already like very ambitious person. Like I always feel like I want to chase my dream and make everything comes true, because I'm also the only daughter in my family, so I don't have any siblings. So that makes me feel stronger, I think, because like I'm also thinking when my parents getting old, then I have to take care of my parents because I'm the only one child in my family. So I have to chase my dream. I have to find a better career, like set up my career step by step. Like, like I always try to convince myself that I can escape. I can find a way to escape in my life.
So where did this ambition, because you're a very strong, powerful woman. Both of you are, right? And they'll get you in a second. Both of you are, right? Where do you think that came from? So why do you think you're so ambitious? Why? Because people are in a similar situation, right? I know people who are the only child in a family, but they're not this ambitious. Maybe they're going along with the way that life is. So what happened to you, or what is it about you that said, you know what? No way. I'm going to be the one who looks after my family. I'm going to be the one who's going to be chasing down my dreams, chasing down my ambitions and ideas that, in a way, is going to inspire many other people. So what do you think, or where do you think that came from?
I don't know. Actually, like I came from the family which is not very, like doesn't have like high economy standard. Like I came from the person who has like a very minimum standard in economy. Like my parents, my dad is a driver, a local driver, and my mom used to take care of a shop belongs to my auntie in Kuta. So like maybe somehow I also felt that my family faced like ups and downs, especially in economy way. So then somehow I feel like I need to make a change in my family. Like I cannot always live like this, because
Beautiful.
because like, and because I also see like some of my friends, like they came from the parents that have everything, like the heritage from their parents, like have the lands that they can rent or they sell and they become rich, but it's not good actually the way they do that, because they become spoiled. But then I realized that I come from a very low economy family, so I need to make a change. Otherwise I'm gonna live like this forever, and I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm getting chills and tears are coming to my eyes. You can see, right? Far out.
Thank
Whoa.
you.
I feel like having a bit of a cry. Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like it's a gift to hear that. It's a gift to see someone in that frequency and vibration and just there to say, you know what, I'm doing this not only for me, but I'm doing this for those behind me, above me, around me, next to me. You know, it's such a powerful mission.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you're going to feel this even more now. I'm still getting goose pimples here. Look, you can see these goose pimples.
I can see it on your chest.
Oh, Mamma mia, beautiful. Whoa. I feel like we should take a time out. All right, we're coming back to you. Thank you so much. So now, Sun.
Yeah.
So obviously we have a different route, you know, coming here, but you know you're equally as powerful and as strong. So for you, where do you think this strength came from within you?
I think I didn't have the easiest childhood, to be honest. I grew up without parents and I'm adopted. And my stepdad always treated me like, or raised me very strictly. So little money and like always like expect me to bring the best grades. But my path went the different direction, the opposite direction, because I became kind of a rebel, especially when I was a teenager. And yeah, but at some point I realized that if I want to be independent and yeah, create the life that I want to, I have to work my ass off and do something. So yeah.
And then which one, if any, of your parents kind of embodied that idea of, hey, you need to get up, have work ethic, have an idea of what you want, and go for it and not be stopped?
So who of them?
Yeah.
Actually, also nobody. It was myself realizing that, because at some point I just thought like I want to create the best life that I can do. And yeah, that's it. So I saw many people or many lives that I don't want to live. And that inspired me to do something and get my ass up and yeah, set up my own company and chase my dreams.
Wow. So tell us maybe one that comes to mind of a life, you don't need to mention their name, but a life that you thought, hell, I don't want to end up like that. You know, one of those things that inspired you to say, I need to be in some type of control of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, like while I was going to university, I studied business and I had this internship for 3 years, which I hated. And I had to, go to the office from 9 till 5, which is like, I don't know, that's not the life that I want. I mean, like, I don't want to insult anyone but yeah, it's just like, I saw many people in Germany, they are like, people from Germany, they only care, like, totally opposite of the Balinese. They care about statues, money, car, house. That's it, but no one asks you, how are you? Are you happy? Here, people ask you that, or people are together for each other. Sorry. Okay. So I saw many people in Germany that only like they have a certain routine and they follow it because they have to. They think they are supposed to do it because society expects it. But yeah. So
then, I'm super aware of that. Born in London, similar life to both of you in a way, and I get how we can be driven subconsciously, unconsciously to become what everyone else is doing. You know, want that particular car because that car equals a certain status, a certain symbol, right? And when we're talking to people, not really wanting to know about how they really are, it's just we're filling in the time to tell them what we're doing, right? Yeah. It's like, how are you? By the way, I'm doing this. It's like, but did you just ask me how am I doing, or do you want to just tell me what you're doing? You know, just be straight up, right? So then why do you think, and what were the circumstances, you know, behind you saying, you know what, I'm leaving Germany and I'm going somewhere else? Because was it a feeling that if I stay here, I'm going to become like the others and I got to get out, or was it something else? Like, how did the whole move out of Germany come up?
Actually, I was always afraid of doing something alone, and I was also afraid of flying. So I was thinking, okay, because I like challenging myself, so I thought like, okay, travel the world by yourself. And yeah, then I just bought a ticket to Bali, and I got a job offer immediately when my feet touched the ground here. And I'm a person, I don't like planning that much, so whatever is given and feels good, I just follow it and follow my intuition, and it felt right, because Bali felt more home than anything else before. So I just thought like, okay, yeah, give it a shot. You can always go back. That's what I was constantly thinking, but the feeling came never up that I want to go back. I mean, for a visit, of course, because all my friends and family are there, but...
You know, there's lots of beautiful things going on here. And some of the ones I pick up upon is that, do you realize, I'm not sure how you guys have spoken, but do you realize what can connect you to? Like even though you had different upbringings, but it was the same, right? You're saying it wasn't really a parent, it was the circumstances, and it was other people's circumstances that you saw and were like, hey, I don't want to be like that, and I want to support this, and I want to support that. And with you, it's kind of something similar. It was like, I don't want to be like this, and I'm not a robot, and I just want to, I want to do something for myself, and I want to challenge myself, right? And so where did the challenge and the ambitiousness come out for you? Because I get where it came from you, but I'm not quite clear with you where you think this ambitiousness to challenge yourself, because look, there are lots of people I know who are very scared to go traveling by themselves, to do things by themselves. It takes courage to overcome that. So in a way, kind of speaking into the guys that might be watching here now, saying, you know, I'm from Germany or I'm from somewhere else, I relate to your story, you know, but I'm trapped in fear. You know, like, what advice, if any, from your own story do you think you could offer them to say, hey, this is how you have, or how you can nurture the courage to actually step out?
Well, I realized that fear, like, is the main reason that I was not happy, because I was scared to try something new. So, yeah, it's just like... Let me think about it.
It's okay. If you need a moment, because the same question...
Yeah, it's fine.
You got it?
Yeah. So I was just like realizing I started with small things, like flying alone to London, for example. And I was just like, okay, I had a panic attack, and then I was just like breathing and letting the fear come. And actually I realized that it's only a feeling. And if you just face it, it will go away eventually. And... yeah. And then when I realized that, then I thought like, okay, when I can sit in a plane for 1 hour alone, then I can also do it for 16, 17, 18 hours. Because if you just let it come and don't push it away, because many people just push the fear away and try to pretend that it's not existing. But it makes it worse, because when I was a child and my mom passed away, I always try to avoid the feeling or that it's happening, but eventually it always like follows us until you face it. And that's where life gets better, if you face your fears and just do whatever feels right.
I love that, you know, and so as a coach, me personally, it's like that, right? It's that breathing exercise that you mentioned, realizing that most of the thoughts that we have are there for like 20, 30 seconds, right? There's a study done a while ago about this, but it's interesting, because if you can withstand that 20, 30 seconds and not make it mean anything. So it's like, I have a fear. The danger with human beings is that we make it mean something. I have this fear here, therefore I'm afraid of crossing the road. And that gets into our brain, and it becomes a pattern and a loop and a cycle, and we just keep on reliving the same pattern, because our brain has made a connection to the feeling. Whereas if we just say to ourselves, this is just a feeling that will pass, and just focus on our breath, that feeling does in fact pass without you making the connection between that fear and that thing. which is really super powerful. Like it's an amazing thing that you did, right? Now, the same question to you, darling. So you would have had to overcome fear in your life. You know, is there anything that you could, from your own story, you know, for other people, maybe how they can overcome fear or overcome the thing that's stopping them from achieving the thing that they really want to get to?
So as a Balinese, actually, most of Balinese people, they are really afraid to face the fear. They always prefer to stay on their comfort zone instead of, you know, like step or move out, right? Like for example, so many Balinese people wants to work abroad, for example, to Australia, or maybe to work for the cruise ship company, right? But then most of their parents always say, no, don't go, just stay in Bali. I mean, what's the difference if you just work in Bali? That's always coming from them. But for me, if you want to see your children to develop and chase their dream, let them go. They're going to get the better life that they want to set up their career that they would dream about. It's not like they move out because they want to forget the family. Because family, you know, like Balinese is very family oriented. That's why the family always, you know, kind of trap them to not to go out or to move out. And it's actually bad for Balinese people, so that's why they don't really, you know, develop themselves in a better way. For me, I think because I'm a rebel person.
It's from your own experience. From your experience.
Yeah, so because I'm a rebel person, so I always, you know, like since I get in touch with the foreign
so much
people,
in common.
that's why I'm like, you know, I just do whatever I want. But of course that I feel it right, so that's why I do it. It's not like I do whatever I want even though it's not right? I know what to choose, I know what to do. As long as I feel it's right, so I just do it, you know. Even though sometimes, to be honest, my mom say, no, Radnya, you cannot, for example, go to the party. Like, no, Radnya, you cannot go to the party. But I'm like, yeah, it's okay, mom, I'll be all right. It's good to make some connections for the business, or sometimes going to charity or in other event, you know. It's not always party, but my mom always assumed that I go to the party as long as I hang out with foreigners, you know. That's a typical Balinese, you know. Like, if you notice somehow there is a conversation between Balinese or Asian mom compared to foreign mom, and when the children go out, and then the Asian mom will say like, what time would you go home? With who that you go out? And, you know, stuff like that. But foreign people always welcome, like, okay, have a great day, darling, or stuff like that. Yeah, it's just completely different. But yeah, I think, again, I'm a rebel person, so I just always do whatever I feel right. And yeah, now I think my mom started to understand, day by day.
I love it. So what, thank you. What I loved of what came out, you're like this, just like me. So please, what came up for you when you said that? What came up?
Yeah, she said she's a rebel person and she always does what she wants, and I'm the same, and that's why we get along so well. So we are so good friends, and working together always works so well because we are so similar. And even though we have so different backgrounds, it's just amazing.
Love it. And how are you both feeling right now?
Amazing.
I'm feeling grateful and fabulous.
Great. It's interesting, isn't it? Because before we spoke, and there was a bit of nerves, and I said it's always a good thing. But you're so natural, you two, and you're such great communicators.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing me to tears. And I'm like holding together here on screen. Like, I'm gonna get a tissue. Bella, give me a tissue. You know, like so. You're both very powerful. women communicators, and I love the mission.
Thank you.
I love the mission that you're on, right? So moving to Bali Staffing Solutions, right, which is the recruitment company that you both founded. And so in general, what comes up for me is that in life, and it's not about one's better or one's worse, but we're either givers or we're takers, right? But what you're doing is giving in the sense that, you know, you're in the service of others, right? And uplifting people's lives, right? By recruitment, which, as we know, is more of a mental, psychological game than an economic game, right? So what do you think? We'll start off with you, Radnya, right? What do you think in your past or in your life kind of brought you to the point where you would be doing this?
Well, actually, to be honest, that about recruiting people, you know, like you really need to know the background, the real personal background of that person, and also the, you know, like somehow you can notice the character of the person from the way they talk, like the way they behave during the interview. And I don't really know much about HR actually, but somehow I can, you know, like you notice people from the way they talk and stuff like that. So from the experience that I got before, not much actually. I'm more for like I have like marketing background and business development background, which is I get in touch a lot with people as well. So somehow I noticed this is not, you know, the right person to talk to. Like she's not or he's not really friendly people. Same like doing the interviewing people during the recruiting. Somehow you notice that he's not or she's not a friendly person to be a nanny. She's not really friendly to get in touch with children, you know. Yeah, because I met a lot of people before when I was working for a business development, so I kind of get used to meet a lot of people, and I think I'm pretty good for knowing the character of people by the way they talk.
The interesting thing that I picked up with your story, which I know you know, but sometimes it's good to be reminded, right, is that, you know, so me and my partner Marina, we had a cafe in Sydney, and the eldest child, who's 6, Alexa, was around my, you know, wearing a good old Baby Bjorn, right? Mm-hmm. Good plug for Baby Bjorn if you're out there. Baby Bjorn's a rocking night. Rocking the Bjorn. We were rocking the Bjorn, right? But she came up around people, seeing people, interacting with themselves and picking up things on a whole bunch of different emotional frequencies and levels that you cannot be taught. It's something that you feel. So for her now, she's the one who has this emotional intelligence that's very high. So I would say that the same thing is similar for you, because your parents worked, as you said, with Bali in Kuta, and you're watching, and you're picking up the body language, the conversations, without knowing what they're talking about, but you're picking up the frequency of what they're talking about and what's going on, and that's helping you to become amazing, combined with the marketing and the business as well, to really be able to get a good feel, a good handle for people straight off the bat by non-verbal cues. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. And I see that clearly because it's what I recognize in you straight away. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're super welcome. Now, Sun, so how about you? So how did you, you know, end up doing like HR and recruitment? Like, how did it end up, and what feelings and things do you offer it?
So, I was always interested in human psychology, and I read a lot of books before. And when I was studying business, that was actually the only thing that really interests me. And while I was managing the hostel, I was also like hiring all people and training them from zero. So I chose people with zero experience and trained them all by myself. And that's when I realized, okay, that's actually what I really like, because you previously you mentioned like social intelligence or empathy, and you need to have like a lot of that stuff if you want to work together with people, obviously. And that's when I recognized that I can see the strength and the weaknesses in people and bring the best out of them. So if you, for example, if you interview a person, I mean, I learned this at like my internship. I was also in the HR department, and so you, of course, you learn the theoretical parts, also the practical, but it's very important that you have a lot of empathy for people. You can ask specific questions to see how do they react. Are they like the perfect fit for this position or not? Not only like the standard questions. It's just you need to be spontaneous and as you said, read their body language and ask specific questions just tailored for this person that comes out of your the spontaneous situation.
I got it. And then so now your business has been going for how many months have you been open? 9 months?
I mean, we have been setting up the company in March when Corona came, but we are operating since like 3 months.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. And so what have been, and this is whatever comes to your head, right? So what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, that was definitely like a lack of motivation because, all the times are crazy right now, and like setting a company during like Corona is quite challenging because we are used to work for other people, and suddenly no one told us what to do anymore.
Yeah, like to organize what to do, basically. Yeah.
And then we both had a kind of a down like some months ago, and then we were just like, why are we even doing this? And then we decided to get out of this hole and like really focus our dreams, like manifesting what we want. Where do we see ourselves? And that helps so much because you really start to work for your dreams, and it helps. Manifestation, right? She told me about it. And so that's one of the biggest challenges, to get motivated and like say, okay, we're gonna work Monday till Friday or Monday till Saturday, because no one asks you to attend somewhere. And because at first nothing happened, obviously, because Bali like 3 months ago, nothing really happened here. But now, since we really started focusing on our goals, everything is great, and people are reaching out to us. We can be here tonight, and
I love that, and we'll get into that in a second. And is there anything that comes up for you when I say or ask that question?
As I said before, about how we manage the work properly, like what we exactly supposed to do, like we didn't have any idea what to do before, like what should we do next, like it was kind of mess a little bit, but then we started to think like what she can do and what I can do, and then we started to follow the flow, and then now we are getting noticed by people.
One of the most powerful things that you just said, which is fantastic, right? Because a lot of people come into this thinking like, it was a perfect run, we had the idea from the beginning, and it was like, we do this, and this, and we just follow the steps, and then we're up, right? But the thing is that, with life, doesn't always work out as we think. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like the end goal we got, but the process is unknown, right?
Yeah.
And we find a way through it. But one of the most powerful things that you two have done, and I love it, is that is that you recognize the time where you're kind of what I call treading water. right? So you're not drowning, but you're like, oh, I gotta tread water. I gotta keep my head above water. What am I doing? Keep my head above water. What am I doing? Keep my head above
like
water.
that.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
I can just see it. I can see it in my mind. You know, get up there. How's my hair? Your hair's perfect, honey.
Yours looks good, by the way.
Looking good, honey. Keep up water. Keep up water. Right? But then you had the incredible audacity and sense to say, okay, this is what we're missing. This is what we need to do. And maybe we were not necessarily 100% sure about the future, but what we can do is we can control what we do now. The next step we can control. And that's what you did. And it was like a step, take another step, take another step, take another step, and then all of a sudden I'm in a group called the BIG group on WhatsApp, and then I don't ask people to be on the show, people just volunteer, it comes up, right? It's been number 82 episode, people know about it, but I just saw a post that you did into this group, and for some reason it just hit me. And I was like, God dang, you know, I knew nothing about you, right, at all, but I was like, I got to get these girls on the show, and I only saw your name actually. I didn't even know there were two of you, but there was something there, something there energetically that tweaked my interest, and then I sent the message out, and then you like replied, and then it's like, all right, this girl seems pretty cool. I couldn't pronounce your name, Sünje. You know, I was like, Sunje. You know, is it a guy or a girl? I didn't know. Like, is it a guy or a girl? Am I talking to like an AI? Like, what is this? Right? I didn't know. And then I remember we were talking about it, and then some really the time where I knew you were crazy like me was that ideas come to me at different times, and I don't necessarily know what the time is, and they just come, and I was like, and I sent you a message like, hey Sünje, and it's like, it's 12:30 a.m. and then I'll get this response 5 minutes later. I'm like, and I realize the time. I'm like, oh shit, it's like 12:30 a.m. What am I doing? You know? And next thing, then we're having this conversation. I'm like, this girl's nuts.
Thank you.
This girl's nuts. We're gonna get along just fine, and we do.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
And then I met you, and you're even more nuts. And I thought, this is great.
Well, thank you.
I know.
He knows how to compliment, right?
Two rebels fighting together, working together, and making it happen. Like, to me, that's the best story, and I'm so glad that you managed to come on the show, and we got through whatever we needed to find ourselves here. And I'm sure the people watching are getting some really insightful and powerful information from you, because you're two great women, and I'm loving the fact that you're able just to be vulnerable and to give it how it is and not sugarcoat it. And this is really what this show is about. It's about, you know, what I love about Indonesia. One of the things I love about Indonesia, the slogan of Indonesia, right? Unity and diversity. And please, if you could pronounce it again, because I love the way you say it.
Bhinneka Tunggal Ika.
Again.
Bhinneka Tunggal Ika.
Love it.
Wow.
And can you tell us, in your own words, what that means to you as an Indonesian woman?
So, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, for me, it means, you know, like unity in diversity, even though, you know, in Indonesia, like consists of so many islands, so many religions, you know, so many people with different background, different languages, but we have one nationality, which is Indonesia.
Wonderful. Oh, I love that. Still getting goosebumps. God dang. Whew. So, okay, Bali Staff Solutions. Now, how can people get a hold of you? How do they find you?
So we have our own website, balistaffsolutions.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, of course.
And LinkedIn.
Ah, yeah. That's her responsibility.
I mean, that's my responsibility.
Love it. And look, so what I love about this part is that this is about, you know, and this is a friend of mine, Gil, who reminded me of this. If you're watching, Gil, thanks a lot, mate. So this is about, you know, like people watching now, they love your story. They love you too. They can see what you're doing. They can see what you're driven by and your mission in life. They can see how you found your way here, and they can see that your mission is to uplift, assist, support humanity, right? Which to me is what I love, and it's what I'm all about. So when I say, you know, what is it that you need? Now, this is not need from the point of I need this because I can't. It's not from that need. So need is, you know, being that it's about contribution, giving love and receiving love, right? So then from that perspective, whoever's watching now, what could they do to contribute to you two? And that's your business or personally, what comes up?
So we told you before a little bit, we are also doing a lot of charity. So that's our heart project. Like we always ask for donations. That's right now what pops into my mind, because we had like the last weekend we had like a very emotional experience with a guy who had a stroke and he is paralyzed, and we went visiting him and his wife and brought some donations because they reached out on Facebook to us. And what do you think?
Yeah, and also somehow we helped Ibu Putu, to bring the food to a very remote area in Karangasem, East Bali. Yeah, so many people also get starving over there, because actually in East Bali you cannot really expect to find a real job. So that's why many people in East Bali usually comes to Denpasar or Badung area, like in Canggu or Kuta. They become a beggar, like they ask money from the tourists, which is actually very inconvenient for the tourists, right? But they don't have any choice. But now there's no tourists, they just stuck there probably, so they are starving, so we need to help them.
Yeah, and
lots of charity. And
yeah, so whenever you feel like doing something good, we know a lot of people who who are in need. And we are like mostly Saturday or Sunday we go somewhere and bring we buy food. And
I don't have any break from her. Like even though weekend we do something, like Monday to Friday working, and then weekend we do charity, and then on Sunday, Radnya, what's next? And I'm like, okay. Even though my mom said like Radnya Bule never stays at home, they are always moving around doing something, they never get tired. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's so true. Sometimes she says, give me a break, just one day, just 1 afternoon.
Just like yesterday, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I love you too. So we've got that. By the way, those who are here, we're going to come to you in a minute. So if you have any questions that are coming up for you, coming onto your mind, feel free to put your hand up. And then we've got 3 microphones. So what we'll do is that if you shout the question out or say the question out, I'll repeat it so those people at home can hear it, and then the girls will answer it. Okay, we'll get to you shortly. All right. So a question that comes up for me is this. Now, with your recruitment company, with Bali Staff Solutions, now, so is there any particular area that you specialize in? Any particular area that you'd like more support in terms of, companies reaching out to you to hire this type of person, or?
Mainly, we are specialized in hospitality. But due to Corona, we realized that the demand for example, like remote workers, like virtual assistant, the demand is pretty high as well. So actually, every kind of person can apply with us, and we will hopefully find a job for every kind of person from every field.
Yeah, and especially for foreigners who has been living in Bali for several years, and they're looking to hire staff for personal needs like nanny or babysitter, because they mentioned somehow it's quite hard for them to find somebody to trust, because taking care of babies needs so much passion. So we can also help them for sure.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Thank you. And so think of those questions, everybody. Now, if someone is coming to an interview, just popped in my head as it usually does. So what advice would you give to somebody who's coming to you for an interview? Like, in other words, maybe, actually, I don't want to lead you in any way. So which advice would you give a person who's coming in to have an interview with you?
An Indonesian person, right?
Let's start with Indonesian, and then we go to Bole.
Self-confidence, because Balinese people, they are so modest and polite that sometimes it gets confused with like not having any confidence and or being weak. So what I always tell them is try to seem strong and convinced, because sometimes, for example, we hire a nanny and the person, one of the requirements is to be able to cook. And then we ask them, can you cook? And then they say, yeah, a little bit. But, you know, they're just being modest. Actually, they are great cooks, for example, because we know them already. But if we introduce them to our clients, then they are very like shy and say, yeah, a little bit. And then we need to like brief them and say, okay, you need to say, yes, of course, I'm a great cook. I can do this. I can do that. Yeah, because their nature is like Balinese nature is being modest and polite, and most of the Western people think they are like shy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually the same, because I still feel it somehow. Like I'm so like modest, and because we don't really like to show off too much about ourselves, you know. Because we have so many consideration, like for example the question like can you cook, and then most of us will say like yeah, a little bit, even though we can, but we will never say yes, of course I can, never, because then we think like yeah, how if I can cook but not so satisfying for them and blah blah blah, stuff like that.
By the way, Radnya was the same. Like
Radnya is the same.
No, but now, yeah,
now?
was. Now look at her.
It sounds better.
Yeah, and I mean, so on that note, you know, is there anything, Radnya, that you could, you know, advice maybe that you could give to some of your Indonesian sisters who come? You know, you mentioned about the confidence, but how do they get confidence? Like how would you think they could do that?
I think they should believe in themselves, like the ability that they have. Like, of course, that the experience, like work experience of they have already, it also can support their skill actually, right? They just need to be more like self-confidence, and they need to believe in themselves.
And that belief in themselves comes from, you know, as you mentioned before, right? So when I travel around Bali and I see people working on building sites, you know, no disrespect to the guys, I'm very respectful of guys as well, but the people that I see doing the toughest work is usually the women, right? On top, as you mentioned, like before, so in a sense, it's like, you know, it's allowing them to see that they're already powerful.
Yes,
right?
Physically, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that they're already powerful. And so it's, instead of perhaps kind of holding this down, that I think as human beings, we don't necessarily like to be the one who's the show off or the smarty pants. Some people do. That's great. But a lot of people don't. It's part of our conditioning, I think, to be within ourselves, you know. But then perhaps, you know, them coming from a place being, you know, I deserve to be here, right? I have something of value to contribute. You know, I'm a strong person. I come from a strong ancestry and background. You know what I mean? I deserve to be here, and I'm good. Yeah. And so for expats, is there any advice that you would give if they're coming to you for an interview of any description?
Well, it's hard for expats actually, because the government of Indonesia makes it very hard for all of us to work here, which is good on one side, because of course they want to support the locals. So yeah, is there any advice what we can give to?
Yeah,
just be like they have to be very lucky to actually find a job here. And yeah.
And then a little bit about the process. So obviously you can be here in Bali, Indonesia, on a 12-month, like a business visa, right? Where you can't work, but then you can be kind of like an advanced scout, looking at things that might be of interest, doing a bit of research, right? And then, so when you're on that particular visa, are you then able to come to a company like yours, Bali Staff Solutions, have an interview with you, and then if you have a client that might be looking for an expat for some reason for a particular role, then they can interview them, and if that goes well, they can then apply for a kitas? Is that possible, or do they have to leave the country and come back in? Like, what could be the process for an expat to find work?
Actually, there are companies who provide kitas, but I think
if I'm not mistaken, as I heard before, that the company will always do like 3 months probation just to make sure about the skills of this person, and then they will consider again if they will sponsor the kitas or not, if they are continuing hiring this person or not, because it's very it's a little bit complicated to apply for the kitas.
But yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and also, at least they are working as a managerial position. I think lower than that, it's not eligible, I think, for the foreigners.
Yeah, okay.
Because so many local people also needs a job, like, for example, doing like a waitress or maybe duty manager. Local also can take over the job. Why do they need foreigners, for example? So maybe like higher than duty manager or supervisor, they can do that.
Got it.
Yeah, but we know companies who give out the kita, so the chances are not very good to find a legal job in Bali as a foreign person, but it's not impossible. That's what I want to say.
Okay. That's great, and they can still come and see you.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So now we're going to go to the audience. So guys, do you have any questions out there that you may have? So just put your hand up. It's okay. Thank you. Yeah. What's your question, darling? Yeah. Yeah. So what we'll do is that so when you get to your question, just let me know what the question is, and we'll repeat it. Or you know what? I'll just give you the microphone.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a whole new thing. Remember, focus on your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Hi, honeys.
Hello.
So, can you tell us about your training programs? Do you have training programs for the companies here, or if they want to hire you to train their staff? How does it work with your company?
Okay, great question. So we are currently still in the process of setting up our trainings because it's a lot of work. So we train existing teams. So for example, if a company already has a team and wants to increase their sales, because the Indonesian people sometimes don't really know how to upsell or cross-sell or stuff like that. We're gonna come there and train the staff to do it, to increase, like, for example, it's a sales training or housekeeping training or front office training. Yeah, we are like setting up different trainings, but mostly hospitality.
Right. Thank you. Now, any other questions out there? Yep, one over here. So I'm going to take this microphone.
Hey.
Yep.
So the question is, what sides of the character should a person have to become a recruiter? Which are like the hardest that you get, like you're working on these sides of your character, and which was like you have it inside and you don't have like to overcome yourself?
Okay, so as a recruiter in general, I think you should have a lot of empathy for other people, patience, because sometimes we have to interview a lot of like different people until we find the right fit. And for me, I'm a very impatient person, so right? She's laughing because I learned a lot from her to be patient, because she always says sabar, sabar.
Yeah, especially the Indonesian people, they are always late. So I always tell her like, please be
and then
patient.
the German, everything needs to be on time, and but that's you need to have a lot of patience. What else? Do you have anything?
You know what? A question actually comes up for me, which is a great point. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thanks.
Is so you're obviously Radnya. You're from here, so you understand that. So coming here yourself, Sünje, which challenges did you find culturally trying to fit in? We one, German efficiency, timekeeping versus a different way of seeing time is one. Are there any other things which have come up for you as challenges that you're like, God dang?
Yeah. Sometimes when, for example, I don't know if you experience that, but Balinese don't like to announce that they are coming over. They just come over.
But I never do that.
But sometimes it happened with me, with my staff, like Sunday morning, 7 o'clock, they just stand in front of my door to pick up something, or without even telling me, and then they are like hammering against the door, and I'm just like, what's happening? Who is that? And yeah, for example, that, or
The waiting part, for sure.
the what?
Waiting. Anything about waiting.
You mean in a restaurant?
Yeah, like waiting for someone when they're supposed to do the interview. And
time
about
is something. Then, for example, when I organized some staff events, it was very confusing at first, because I was like organizing pizza and drinks, and I was like setting up a nice table, and then I was the only person sitting on this table. The other were just sitting on the floor in the corner, and then they said they don't want to eat pizza, they want nasty, and they don't want to use cutlery, and I'm just like, I organized everything, and then you're not sitting on the table. But it's just like that's again being humble. I think maybe they think they don't deserve.
Yeah, kind of.
Sitting on a table or eating.
Just not get used to, yeah.
Yeah. And that's like, some little things that you have to get used to when you come here, because, every culture is different, but it's such a beautiful culture for me. Very inspiring.
Yeah. And on that note, so what things inspire you about the culture?
Yeah, like first of all, that everyone is helping each other. That's so inspiring, because I don't know, in Germany it's not like that. If someone, or like whole Europe or wherever I went, it's not like that, because here if someone is in trouble, they help each other, no matter what, and they share everything. I know people who have nothing, and they share their last money with whoever comes, and that's what I like the most about this culture. And this peaceful, and we go to ceremonies so often, and no one, like everyone is okay with like that I'm joining, even though I'm not Hindu, but everyone says, okay, come and join us. And it's always like very beautiful, because I know.
Picture.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes, sometimes like that. But it's like, I'm very grateful that wherever I come with her, which is very local, it's always like this warm, welcoming feeling, and I really appreciate that.
Wonderful. And one of the things I love about Bali as well, by the way, is this five or more religions cohabiting, and each one is respected. Each one has a holiday, which is a national holiday, or a Balinese holiday. It all gets involved in that calendar, and each one is given its time, which I think is, I've never seen it anywhere else in the world, which I think is, that I love, right? And so working together with this wonderful German over here, so which things have you seen, okay, that maybe you didn't see before, or which things that come up where you think, like, I think I've kind of changed a bit, and it's because of Sun?
Should I be honest?
Always.
So far everything is great, but one thing that I learned always from the foreigners, not only her actually, like from the general, they are always on time. That's somehow a little bit hard to manage, because it's a little bit hard for the Balinese, the Indonesian, to be on time. I don't know what's wrong with us actually, but yeah, like the time, right? The time management. Yeah, that's the most important thing that I learned.
Now, something just popped in my head, and I think you guys are good for it. And I'm going to give you a bit of time, right? So what it is called an acknowledgement. Okay? So what it is you opening your heart to another person and telling them how you feel about them. Okay? But it's not just that, it's something quite specific. So I'll give you an example, because after this I want you to do it to one another, right? So
this is very challenging.
Yeah, just popped in. It's not me doing this. Remember we did a little exercise before about breathing, let it come in, white light, get out of the way, right? I'm here for others, not here for myself, right? All of this is all part of this. So I want to acknowledge you, Sünje, right, for being beautiful, a little bit crazy, responding my message so well, right? And being able to really open up your heart to us and just let it go and look back into your culture and see the things that you liked and didn't like, and able to verbalize that and know why you've come here and know your mission, right? So I want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you.
All right? You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, I'm going to do this one, and then you can do each other,
okay.
right? So, Radnya!
Radnya.
So I want to acknowledge you, right, for teaming up with this kindred spirit in your partner's son, okay? And I just want to really acknowledge you for being, like, every culture needs someone who stands out, you know? Needs someone who says, you know what, enough is enough. And I'm doing this for another reason that's greater than myself, you know, and I'm going to go for it, and I don't really care what happens, right? Because that's actually what I get from you, which is so inspiring, right? So I just want to acknowledge you for being that light for humanity as a whole, not just for Bali or other Balinese women, which I think is incredibly powerful, but for humanity as a whole. Hearing your story brought me to tears. I was holding them back for different reasons, but they were flowing inside, right? So I just want to acknowledge you for being that person and being that lighthouse for others, right? So thank you, honey.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Now I'm going to just suck that one in. Okay. So now, Radnya, I want you to start and to look at Sun and to acknowledge her for one thing or something, okay?
So I'm so grateful to meet you, because you are a very positive person. Like, you always bring the positivity every time, anytime, you know, even though you are in your worst, like you have so much problem, but still we can get our back each other. And you also teach me a lot how to be more confident, and yeah, and thank you so much for everything. Thank you for always supporting me, like in any kind of, you know, like way. Thank you for always get my back.
Thank you so much.
Now the other way.
Okay, sayang. And for this amazing friendship, that's the most important thing, because you're my best friend here. And you're supporting me always. Whenever I'm down, whenever I'm up, you're always there and take care of me. And I'm so grateful that you are my business partner and that we can work together so well. And yeah, everything is just working out for us. And I am grateful for, how strong and beautiful you are.
Thank you, that was so lovely. Can I hug her?
Yeah, hug away. All right.
And we want to say thank you for, what do we want to say to Robert?
First of all, thank you for inviting us for doing this SpeakuP Monday tonight. and you are such a funny and lovely person. Because before I was asking Sun, like, Sun, he's from London, so how if I don't understand his accent? Because British accent is very hard to understand. And then she's like, it's okay, Radnya, he's a funny person, you will love him. And when the first time I met you, and I was like, oh my God, I love him already. So thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your kind soul. I can really feel like what a good person you are. And like, if everyone was like you, the world would be like the best place ever. Thank you so much for inviting us and being so open with us and being so emotional. We love that kind of shit, right?
Exactly. Emotional.
Sorry.
You know what? I don't know what happened tonight to me. Far out. There's like 3 times I'm there like sobbing away. Look, I embrace it, but I think cause this is the first time as well that we've done, on this show, like 2 other really powerful women, and we've done this next week is like a couple, Rob and his wife who are absolutely killing the game with keto here in Bali. They've got an amazing keto label, which we'll get to, which saved his life, and is an amazing guy, and she's amazing. But yeah, just I guess you two being here has just put me right back there into the feminine and just sucking it in, and I'm all the better for the experience. So thank you both, really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So nice.
It's been a treat. So I'm going to wrap up here, but before I do that, so just think of if there's something that you would like to say. Maybe you said it already, maybe you haven't, but something which you'd like to leave with. And this could be something that empowers other people, could be something that empowers you, could be a message to someone you love. Like whatever comes up for you, feel free to share it, okay? So just have a little think about that. In the meantime, so to those of you watching over here on whichever form you're watching it, whether YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or something else which I can't remember, Instagram Live probably. Thank you for watching. Remember, every Monday, I just want to thank the guys here at Tropical Nomad. They've been absolutely incredible. Itchy and Bella, thank you so much, guys. It's been a trip, yeah, and it just gets better and better. And as I said, like, we're focusing on Indonesian right now, which is an amazing thing because we get to understand that people inspire people in every culture, no matter what that culture is, and that unity and diversity gets me every time, and it's very close to home, and whoever's on the show, we get that, like, doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter the background that they've had, we get that unity and diversity, that we have our own individual story which is unique to us and is amazing and beautiful in its own way, but on a deeper level we're all connected. Right? We all go through the same things. We want to be acknowledged, loved, cared, and seen, right? Amongst other things. And each time of the 82 episodes that we've done, like, it comes really strongly as a vibe, as an inference, as an acknowledgement without even saying it. And I love having the opportunity to have an input into that, right? So I love it. So it's 7 o'clock next week, as I mentioned. We've got Rob and his wife, incredible couple. Another, what do I call it? Like a fusion couple, based here in Bali. She's from Bali and he's from London, I think, from memory. And he has an amazing keto movement that they've built together. And he has an amazing story, they both do, behind it. So that will be here next week. Feel free to come in person, 6:45, 6:30, or watch it online. Okay, so take a breath. Yeah, just suck that one in. So now I'm going to come to you two for something to close with, something that you like to say to people who are watching. And just we'll do one at a time, and this time we'll start with you, and then we'll finish with you, all right?
So what I want to say is that for me it's very important that you always follow your dreams and what your intuition tells you. Because so many people are scared to leave their comfort zone and do something just for themselves, because that's all that matters, right? And I just want to encourage people to do the same. Whenever they have like a feeling, I feel like I want to do this, but I'm scared, or society tells me not to do, or whatever, just do it. That's what I want to say, and I want to thank all my friends and my family that are there for me and support me.
Wonderful.
I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And from my side, you know, like every person has a dream, but not all can achieve it. So for me, I suggest that you have to embrace it and work on it until you can achieve your dream and make yourself happy and proud. And especially for the Indonesian women and also especially Balinese women, they have to develop and evolve themselves in terms of education and career. So they can don't worry to, you know, like move forward, chase your dream. Don't be stuck in your culture. That's all I want to say. Thank you. And thank you for my mom that's always be there to support me.
Yes, her mom is great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And a round of applause to those who have been here. A round of applause for yourself. Thank you for coming, guys. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Thank you.